up die. Feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wide variety. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good evening, monsters, and welcome to the very special primetime edition of Monsters on the Edge. That's right, it is not noon today. For those of you who are tuning in live, we are live right now on the Untold Radio Network. If you're one of the people that are listening to our podcast after the fact, well, none of this matters to you because it's just after the fact and you're listening to it at your normal time, whenever that may be, as it is. But we have a great show here for you tonight, and I want to get to it as soon as possible. So I'm going to rush through some of the stuff that I normally take a lot of time to get to. So anyway, you want to meet us in person, we are going to be in Eau Claire, Wisconsin at the Midwest Metaparacon coming up April 11th through the 13th. And then, guys, we head to Appleton Saturday, May 10th, 9th, 10th, and 11th in Appleton, Wisconsin at the Wisconsin Cryptids, Anomalies, and Paranormal Convention. If you want to come out to that, we have a great lineup of speakers, including my guests today, as well as myself and all the people you see on your screen right here, these lovely folks, and the premiere of our brand new documentary, The Hairy Man of Dairyland, Wisconsin's Bigfoot. Also, anybody that buys a Saturday ticket gets a gallery reading with Angela Zabel. If you guys can't make it out in person, you can always get yourselves a virtual ticket and stream all of our guest speakers live that day or at your convenience, as well as a ticket to watch the brand new documentary again at your leisure up to a month after the convention has aired. Then, guys, we head down to Chicago for the Chicago Paranormal Convention June 7th and SilCon in Gaze, Illinois, September 19th through the 20th. Awesome. Good. Now that's all out of the way. So today we are coming to you a little bit later, obviously, because I got home from work this morning, and I normally come home and take a nap before my show. and I was scrolling through Facebook when a friend of mine that we in an area that we have a lot of sighting reports posted a video from their storefront. And so the store owner was sick, and their husband apparently went to the store to check on things or do something at the store and found what appeared to be a series of footprints fresh in the snow from last night. So this is pretty much all the information that I have to go on. Now, there is security camera footage of whatever this happens to be, hopefully, possibly, but we don't have access to that because, as I said, the store owner is ill and not able to get to the store today. So, with that being said, I took it upon myself to call into action the CAPS team, and we went out to investigate that. But we're going to get to that in just a moment, because first, I want to introduce to you my amazing guests for today. All right, guys, I not only have one guest, but two amazing guests. That's right, not just Scott, but Hannah Violette are joining us. Squatch America is a Bigfooting researching husband and wife team. Scot and Hannah Violette combining Scot and Hannah's expertise in anthropology and sociology, research and communication. They're investigating the unexplained, not explaining the uninvestigated. Their mission is to construct a cultural behavioral narrative of the hominid species known as Bigfoot. Scott, a Native American cultural anthropologist, was led into Bigfoot research through his pictograph-analysis work with the Miwok tribe of Northern California. Hannah, a master social worker and human behavioral researcher, supports his research by identifying behavior patterns common to both Bigfoot and humans. Together, they've made unique discoveries, had sightings, and had actively teaching the broader community to conduct field research. They travel nationwide and host community town hall meetings to collect encounter reports, which are building their pursued cultural behavioral narrative. They are Squatch America. They are going to be guests at our convention, and now they are here on the show. So please welcome Scott and Hannah. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Barnaby, and hi, folks.
Now I can breathe. All right, so
that was a lot of words you spit out there in like
it
2
is.
minutes.
And for those that normally watch my show, we are at the 7-minute mark, and we are just usually getting to the guest, and we're way ahead of schedule for today's show. So I'm super excited. I know people are really excited to see you. Octopus with No Friends was saying that we had to have today's show, even though it was postponed, because you were amazing and that we had to have you on. So we couldn't postpone today's show or, cancel it or anything. So
We'll pay you later, Doc.
Awesome. Well, this is a really amazing thing, because normally if you host a show like I do and something like this comes up and you got to explain, sorry guys, I have to postpone because I have to go look at something's footprints in the snow. And you guys are awesome because being Bigfooters yourself obviously realize the importance of what happened. And so we're going to take a couple minutes here, if you don't mind, and go over this because I would love to get your opinion on this as well. So we got out there, or actually I got out there. I was followed about an hour later by Rez on my team, and then a couple hours later by Barbara as well. So there's 3 of us that ended up going out there. And so I'm going to start with this. So this is a little bit of the trackway. There was a trackway. We will go ahead and say that. I do have reservations on this, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need measurements.
Yep, we'll get to there. So
Okay.
every single one of these tracks, let's see, here we go. Let's see if this pops up right. There we go. Every single one of these tracks actually measures the exact same. As you can see by this image also, they're very crisp.
They
Oh,
almost
dear.
look like someone had a footprint cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no like lead in or like you notice on the back of this here, there's no like drag or movement or anything, right?
Well, yeah, that should be more normal. But even with the Bigfoot, because they do step flat,
Mhm.
but uh one of the things that it's kind of concerning to me right now is if you look where the toes connect to the foot,
Mhm.
it looks like the toes, there you go. Yeah, it looks like there's a hinge point right across there at the base of the toes where the toes look like the toes dipped in. And if
Mhm.
you're wearing a hard board on the bottom of your foot, that's where the teeter totter is going to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like there's when you go out to these investigations, you don't know what you're getting into. And
Uh-huh.
I 100% believe that the property owner that posted this, because they didn't actually message me, I saw it on their Facebook page. They didn't reach out and try and hoax me or say anything
Okay.
like that. I reached out to them and I said, hey, is this real? And they said, I didn't see them. I don't know. My husband took the video. He said they looked legit. All right. So you're not hoaxing. You're not doing anything. I'll take you at your word. So we went out there because here's the ramifications. When you look at these, the trackway and stuff. What if this is real? You have an extreme opportunity to follow these prints from either where they started or where they went.
Yeah.
There's just so much opportunity for this. And there was quite a few of these. As you can see, this is a little bit more of the trackway. This is kind of covered up by I started a new window here. There we go. It's kind of covered up by the somebody drove through it and stuff. But there's one here, there's one there. They went up to this window, turned around, came back. But the main problem when I pulled up, I'll find the picture here. Now this might be something normal for someone else, but it just didn't seem right for me. Next to this place is like this little ice cream shop, and these footprints go from their store over to the ice cream shop, and then they come out from the road and they go back into the road. But outside the ice cream shop, they stop and look in two of the windows, and then they decide to have a little seat on the bench.
Oh. Okay.
And
Do you know in the Bigfoot world there is a couple butt prints that have been cast?
there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. Like the footprints are 18 inches.
Okay.
That's a big creature.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and this butt print is smaller than mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm looking at it just going, oh, something's just not adding up here. So I don't know.
Well, and well, if they were, I don't know, if they were wearing, if it was a person, you'd probably see seams from the jeans or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, if it's a Bigfoot, is there twigs and berries? Not to be crude, or a twig and berries,
or any kind of
anatomical
Anatomical
hair
partners.
striations, anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a few butt prints and they're very accurate.
Yeah.
Yep. And see, this was one of the first things that I saw when I got out of my car was this. And I thought, really? Like it stopped to have a seat on the bench? And but like I said, when you're an investigator and a researcher, even with cases like this, we documented everything. We took pictures of everything. We got measurements. We did all that stuff. And we even went as far as to take casts.
Awesome.
Of these.
Nicely done.
And so these two are made out of great stuff, the expansion foam, because we heard that it worked good in snow. And these things turned out amazing.
They did. Wow.
The problem is they're almost exactly alike.
Yeah, the toe spread is where you want to look there.
Yeah.
And if it's exactly the same everywhere, that's a problem. But that doesn't look too bad. I've never tried that foam, spray foam.
They turned out really well.
It did. I'm surprised.
And they're big. They're very big. I will show you. Oops, hang on. So this is Rez took his and I have mine, but they are very big
and very lightweight.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Where am I? Yeah, I picked this one because the big toe had like a different impression there. You see, it's like
there's something different. Yeah.
So I picked to cast this one because it was a little bit different of a print. But
yeah. Hey, can you turn that sideways to the camera so I can see? No, I want to see the profile of it. Yeah. You see where the toes hinge down?
This kind of puffed up in the snow.
Okay.
Or since we pulled it out, I think that it unfroze and it kept expanding. So this was flatter when we first pulled it out. If you look at the pictures, but like you can see in the pictures here, it looks a lot flatter.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
They looked really nice when we pulled them out, and I got home and this one kind of puffed out. So I think that they were too cold and just kept expanding. But I also have a plaster cast as well of one of the prints, but that is thawing in my bathtub at the moment. So.
Perfect.
But I don't know your thoughts. I think that I don't think that the person hoaxed this. I think that she was sick and maybe somebody was trying to cheer her up, and kind of came through and played a joke or something. Maybe even her husband himself. I don't know. But again, it's still, to me, I think, valuable because we got to go there and look through everything and say, okay, well, even if this is a person, they came here, they went there, they did this, they moved there, and we're able to follow these tracks throughout the property and treat it like a real investigation. We crossed the road, we looked on the other side of the road, up and down for about, I don't know, quarter mile, half mile down the road on each side to see if these prints showed up anywhere else. We couldn't find anywhere else that this thing came from or went.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So how far apart were they? Did you marry the prints?
From heel to heel. That was the other thing. Let me pull that up. That's not a very good picture, but from heel to heel. So from the heel of a left to the heel of a left was 71 inches.
Okay.
And we could walk next to this and match it stride for stride. And I'm thinking they're very close together. I'm thinking if this is 18 inches is a huge footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And for this thing has got to be probably in the 8-foot range if it's a legitimate creature.
Mm-hmm.
That this thing has taken a lot bigger steps than this, or should
absolutely
be. And that was another thing that really kind of turned me off on this, going, well, I don't know. But it was definitely interesting. It walked up to their front door of the store and then moved back off. And like I said, we documented every single track that was there that we could find. And just for the sake of having it, because maybe if it turns out to be real, if she can pull up security camera footage and something's there, we have the evidence.
Yeah.
But I'm just not feeling it. I mean, they all just have a very uniform, these are harder to see. They all have just a very uniform shape, and the toes splayed out like that on every single one. There was no variation of anything on it. So, yeah. So that was my day.
I just want to know who's walking around barefoot out there. That's just stupid.
With an 18-inch foot. Yeah, that's well. Yeah, it looks pretty flat. Did the prints look really flat on the bottom?
So
Okay.
one of the
That's
things that
what
we
it
talked about while we were there is when you stepped into the ground, you compacted the snow. Now, a lot of
Mhm.
these had blown snow like in the top of them, so that's why they're harder to see. But the ones that were very clean and crisp were all uniform. There was no variation of like a mid-tarsal break or a pad of any sort.
Mhm.
There was no animalistic imprinting to this stuff. It was very uniform, very flat. So
Yeah. Yeah, so one of the things I was kind of noticing, one of the things when people are using boards, you got this flat surface, and when you put your foot on it with a flat surface, when you go to step up with a human foot, you're going to dig
mhm.
just the toes in, so you'll see a sharp curvature right at the toes that go down, and then they pick up their foot and they take the next step. With a Bigfoot, they bend their foot in the middle, so then they lift the whole foot straight up like this, so you won't get that divot in the toes, you know. And that's one of the things I had talked with Cliff about, because he was doing an in-depth study of the London Trackway, in Oregon, and 12 years later we found footprints there in the same place that matched his exactly. So and one of the things he had is a couple casts that were in the mud that had really deep toes, where the toes is like dug in. So, and that was the focal point where a board bends when you lift your foot up, strapped to the bottom of your foot. So,
But in that case, the heel to heel stride was more like 84 to 90.
yeah, it was. Yeah, that one's a little bit different because unless that guy had to be huge
Jumping.
or jumping.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 71 was the average between them that we picked up. So
okay.
and that's very, very easily to do. So
Mhm.
and the way that they're like the toes dug in deep on the prints in the front, but as you said, that's because that's where you're putting all your pressure.
Mhm.
That was the only thing that, but the toes are all also very uniformly round. So they're
Okay.
very
Yeah.
nice, clean, round imprints. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that we were purposely hoaxed, because like I said, we
No.
kind of sought this out, and they weren't saying, hey, look what we got. It was, hey, this was on our property. And I'm like, oh, I want to come look. So
Yeah. Yeah. In our investigations that we've done, and we've done lots, the ones that we are pretty sure are hoaxes, I would say 90% of the people who contacted us about the find were also hoax. They weren't the hoaxers.
mhm.
I think there's only been like one time that the actual hoaxer has called us
And
to
he
come
was
investigate.
16.
Yeah, and he was 16. So, yeah, and yeah, I was a bit skeptical at the beginning of that one. So, but
Yeah. I don't know. So like I said, you don't know unless you do it, and you
yeah,
cast it, because now I have a cast and I can compare
there
that to other casts and go, well, this is the exact same size, shape, and everything of the one that I found. So
mm-hmm.
I got home and I got a message saying that there was other tracks in the area that were supposedly behind a schoolhouse. Now I said, well, do you have pictures of those? Because if it's the same schoolhouse I'm thinking of, it would be kind of directly across the street and over from where we were. And we covered that area. We hiked around that area looking for more prints and stuff to see if it moved over there. Because that's the other thing. Like right off the bat, if we could have found a trackway leading off into the woods, I mean, that's a totally different thing. Who's going to start off in the middle of nowhere and walk all the way onto a property and then all the way off and continue on, and this thing just started and stopped, and that was it. So
Oh, okay.
Didn't
Yeah.
go anywhere.
Do you mean it was picked up? It was dropped off by a UFO and picked up by a UFO. That's why how it stopped
it
and
drove
started.
down the road and got dropped off and picked up too. So
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. prove me wrong to the people that did it. You know, there's
Yeah.
security camera footage out there somewhere, but even so, even if it is a person with stompers or something on, I still want to see it because I want to
Oh,
know
absolutely.
how correct we were on saying this is how it moved, this is where it went, this is how it walked, this is how you did it, because that's how we learn. You know, we're
Oh
not
yeah,
gonna
absolutely.
identify stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And the
In
more
fact,
you can recognize something that's not, the
Mhm.
more the real thing stands out to you when you see it.
Absolutely.
yeah, and I think I've learned as much from hoaxers than I have from the Bigfoot themselves, you know, on anatomy and how things work, you know, and it helps.
And just there was so much fresh snow there that we could walk and experiment. So you could walk across different areas of the ground and say, well, look how my foot moves when because there were some areas like there's like a horseshoe pivot where it like walked and turned around, came back. So we were trying to see, you know, when you turn your foot like that, you're going to disturb the snow more than just a nice flat impression. And, you know, we were there for like 3 hours looking at this.
Oh yeah.
But it was great. It was a good time. And, you know, I think we learned a lot. So awesome.
Yeah, I have to say when I was hoaxed by that 16-year-old, that was a long day because I had to drive a 4-wheeler up a really rough road, you know, that you couldn't get cars into, up to this mountain lake that was almost empty and had all these footprints along the edge. And, you know, there was some of the stuff, the footprints automatically were human. I you know, I could see the way they stepped. I could see the arch in the foot. I could see, you know, they had this Egyptian toe line where the toes would go down sideways, you know. So, but when I was up there, you know, I was the kid was with me, so I was humoring him a little bit, you know, and we took a couple casts so I could put it in my hoaxing pile, you know, and say, yeah, here we go, you know. But what was crazy is while we were there, this really loud tree knock happened off into the woods when we were there. And the kid was with me at that time. So, and I knew nobody else was up there. So it was like, oh, okay. So you did get me into a place where, so.
Yeah, we did drive around afterwards and kind of looked at some other stuff to see if there was anything, you know, because I mean, with fresh snow and deep snow like that, there's anything moving around is going to leave prints. So we spent a little while driving around and stuff too, but didn't find anything else. So you never know.
Yep.
There's definitely reports, and we've gotten reports of footprints in the snow from that area before, from a couple of years ago. So I don't know. I highly doubt that it was the same thing, but I don't have pictures of those either. So
yeah.
Never know.
So I want to see the security footage.
Yes.
That's the key.
Absolutely. So hopefully in the next couple days here, we'll get that. And I started off my show and I didn't even say this. We're on the 99th episode.
Wow.
Of Monsters on the Edge. So next week is my 100th episode. We'll talk about it later. But yeah,
we're coming up to a big one ourselves too.
Yeah, April 30th episode will be our 200th episode of our live show. So.
And we're planning something big and splashy, everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is yet, but it'll be big and splashy.
But it'll be big and splashy.
Awesome. Well,
we do our best work on the fly.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. I don't know what it is yet, but it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the best. Better than anything has ever been.
Awesome. Well, I am looking forward to having you guys up here in a couple weeks. We're doing the cryptids, anomalies, and the paranormal convention, and you guys are going to come up and be a part of that, and it's going to be a lot of fun and all that stuff. So I'm super excited to have you.
Cool. We're excited to be there.
Yeah. Don't have any snow there though. I know.
It was almost completely gone here where I'm at, which is about like 10 minutes from the convention. And so today it kind of snowed a little bit, but when I was driving up north today, about an hour and a half away, there's a good 5-6 inches on the ground up there. And some of the places there's almost a foot of snow still on the ground. So that's Wisconsin. That one area can be completely green already, and the other area is, yeah. There we go.
Yep. Here, I'm gonna do a thing here.
Oh my goodness. We're in Texas.
Okay.
We're very happy, almost Texans.
So here's the temperature indoor and out here in Texas right now.
Good. Good for you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Awesome. Well, I want to start out today's show. Well, officially, we've been doing this for a half hour apparently now, but I want to start off today's show. You guys, when I was on your show, you were talking about this, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to promote it because I know it's coming out, and you have a brand new insect repellent.
Yes.
So, speaking of nicer weather and no snow and stuff, tell us all about your new Sasquatch bug repellent.
Okay. All right. So this is so exciting because it really is like, it's like our baby together. You've got the Bigfoot guy and really the health and wellness gal, and through this, it's like, this is how we found that we could blend both of those disciplines.
Yeah.
And actually, this Squatch Off became an entire new business that I'm working almost 24/7 right now, trying to get off the ground. But what's really cool about Squatch Off is we did some really deep formulation work with an herbalist, and I'm just gonna say it. The stuff that it's like kind of like, mainstream media. It's all trash. It's all trash. And the stuff that you buy, at the Piggly Wiggly. Here, I'm gonna go get some bug spray. It's trash. It's chemical garbage. It's lining someone's pockets that just wants to make a profit and doesn't care about the environment or doesn't care about your skin. And the formulation in this, it literally is all natural. There's not an artificial chemical in there at all. It is a double extracted concoction of like 99% alcohol and a variety of oils. And the way it works is that it disrupts when you spray it on. First of all, it nourishes your skin. And I've got a tender skinned guy here. He's just, he's like a little baby bug. Yeah. And it's soothing to the skin. It doesn't smell like garbage. You know how you spray stuff on and you walk around smelling like a chemical plant? It smells really good. And the way it works is that it disrupts the hormonal pathways in the insects. So it's almost like having cloaking on you. They don't recognize you as food. And at this point, it's made with things that are known to repel mosquitoes, ticks, black flies, no-see-ums, all the little biting things. Now, I cannot guarantee hornets, wasps, those usually don't bother you. The other thing that was kind of like a side benefit, it's not perfect protection against this, but the oils used in there do provide some moderate protection if you accidentally brush up against nettles or poison oak or poison ivy. And so and someone asked, can I use it on my dog?
Yes.
Obviously you want to go to your vet and make sure, but if they're not going to be licking it off, mostly because of the alcohol in it, there's nothing that's going to harm your dog's skin on there. So if you're looking for something you can, it's safe for children. It's just absolutely, and the reason that you don't see it at the market is because it's premium. The ingredients are sourced at such a high level that if you're talking about mass marketing, there's how that goes. Yeah. But it's really, really exciting. So we're going to have, unless we sell out from our Indiegogo campaign, which is up right now, go to squatchamerica.com. We're going to have a truckload of it at Capcom.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hopefully you bring some out the night before for the Bigfoot expedition that we're going
Yeah.
on.
We will.
And hopefully there's not snow on the Bigfoot expedition in May, because
Yeah.
we never know how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a couple comments here. Not that one. Why does it always do that? It clicks and moves up.
Poison ivy.
People message when I'm trying to click. I wear full body pantyhose to keep the ticks, chiggers, spiders, and any other insects from biting me. Chemicals go on the outside of the clothing, boots, and the like.
That just doesn't even
That's cool.
sound comfortable.
No, yeah, I've started taking to wear long sleeve spandex
Mhm.
because it's I hate long sleeves, but because it's spandex, it fits right tight to my skin, and then I can spray whatever on it, and it doesn't sweat off as quickly, and it works a lot better that way. So I recommend that to people as well. I don't know about people.
Yeah, our stuff's waterproof too.
Yes, this guy, he's got tender skin and he sweat. He doesn't just sweat, he sweats acid. I'm telling you, he sweats acid. I call him Acid Man. And anything he's ever put on, like I remember a few summers ago, we started mixing patchouli oil with hydrocortisone and just trying to find something that would protect him, but also soothe him so he wouldn't flay himself alive with the scratching. And that would sweat off in like 5 minutes because he's a hot dude. And this stuff, how long did you go before you had to reapply? 2 hours? 3 hours?
2 or 3 hours. Yeah.
Yep. So, it's really premium stuff, and I'm just excited. And it's partnership with nature. That's the thing that really, really is important to me, is like, we don't have to dominate nature. Nature's given us everything we need. And that's something that we learned from Bigfoot. Because nature has everything we need. If we partner with it, we can all get along. So there's my preach for the night.
And end scene. Okay.
Very good. Very good. All right. I think I missed something here. I gotta go back up to there's your question. All right. So enough advertising and moving on and promoting and stuff. So we gotta get down to business here. So we're gonna start off. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna start off here with our first official question for you guys, because the comments section is just lit today.
Okay.
Do you have any guidelines for recognizing wood knocks from either fake or non-wood knock noises?
It's a tough one. One of the things is that I think, now this is just my hypothesis, when we're in the woods, to make a knock as loud as I've heard actual Bigfoot knocks, you have to have a huge log against a huge log. But I tend to believe they're hitting trees with rocks and not with other logs. So you get this loud thud. It's kind of a deep thud. And, you can hear if somebody's hitting it with a bat, or a special aluminum bat, you can hear the ting, when people are doing that. But another thing I found, over the years, and having interviewed a lot of Native American tribes, they tend to believe that if you're getting tree knocks, those are warnings to stay out of their territory. So if you knock back to them, you're basically challenging them. So I don't know if I want to pick a fight with an 8-foot tall, massive creature in the woods, but
a big foot.
a big foot. Yeah. I don't want that big foot in my chest. Yeah. So, yeah. And usually you'll hear like one knock. That's another thing. A lot of the Native Americans say that you'll hear one knock, and it's been my experience. It's always been one knock. It's not 3 or 5 or 10.
No matter what your Nike commercial says.
Yeah. 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 So it's Usually you'll hear one, and that's just a warning saying stay away. And we've had those exchanges where we've heard wood knocks that kind of led us around the woods. That was another thing I think they've used them for. There's one time we were doing an investigation on a nest that we found, and then we heard this loud yipping, screeching, and it was a coyote up the hill from us. It sounded like something was strangling it. It was like in pain, like something had grabbed it, and it wasn't liking it. So we rushed up the hill to see what that was. And when we got up there was nothing there. And then we heard a tree knock back at the nest area. So I think they drew us away from the nest for something, and then they said you can come back now, or I don't know what the whole deal was.
There's a big story there.
There's a big story there. Yeah. And then later on there was a rock clacking thing that happened for about,
and there's
probably about
back and forth vocalizations.
Yeah, for about 15 minutes. So anyway, but yeah, as far as the wood knocks go, you can probably tell if it's a person because it won't be ground shaking. It's usually really loud. And for me, what I found, I think it's rocks. I think they're hitting the trees with large rocks.
Interesting. I was out in the woods and I did a wood knock and got back a very loud, what sounded like something hitting a metal with like a sheet of metal, like a bang kind of.
Oh, wow.
And this is deep in the woods at 3 a.m. So there was no other people around. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but I'm several miles from any house in the area on a back forest road. And I don't know. I have no idea what it was, but it sounded just like somebody smacking a big sheet of metal. It had a very weird, I don't know, sound to it. But interesting.
Well, if they are tool using instead of tool making, it's just as easy to bang on a piece of scrap metal as it is.
But you got to find that out in the woods too, though. That's like, have you guys
found
some weird shit?
A coffee table out in the woods, random toilets, not hooked up to anything. People are pigs. Come on.
Yep.
We took that coffee table home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I did find once. It was up about 10,000 feet too. It was way up on the mountaintop. And of course, this was back in the pioneer days, which I think we found a metal, old metal fire, cook stove. Yep. That they used fire, that it was a wood cook stove. And it's like, okay, they got halfway up the mountain with it and decided it was too heavy for the wagon and chucked it out. I guess we found parts of it. It's kind of cool. But yeah. I was reading some of the chat. Okay. Yeah. Like Flat Rock, you can disagree with me. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. We've had multiple tree knocks. I didn't say that, but it said 90% of the time it's just one. But I have heard it wasn't a tree knock. It was when I first heard, I had one sound that I first heard. I don't know if you've ever heard grouse will thump their wings on their chests and standing on a log, and it sounds like a motor starting, I heard something that was close to that. And it happened twice, and the second time, and I realized that grouse, they start slow. There's a pattern to theirs, and this was like a rapid fire, but it was a lot deeper and louder. And I think they beat their chest like chimps. It was really rapid fire though. Not
Do you
faster
think that they slap their hands or slap trees on their hands? Question here.
That could be too.
Primates clap their hands.
All primates clap their hands.
I had
or they clap their open hands on their chest too.
because they're happy
Yeah.
and they know it.
I had I can't think of her name off the top of my head right now, but she was the head researcher from the Bonobo Institute in Iowa. And she was on my show a couple months ago, and she said that the bonobos slap the roots of trees, and it makes that sound as well. So the wood knocks that we're hearing are bonobos do the same thing, but they're slapping like the roots, or literally just running up and slapping a tree. So they might not need a rock or anything because
They
they're
might not.
a lot tougher skinned than we are.
Yeah, and a lot stronger.
My hands are bleeding just thinking about that.
Just next time you're out in the woods, no more wood knocking with sticks. Just slap the tree with your hand.
Well,
That's how we're doing it from now on.
I'm a wimpy
Be a
human.
man, slap the tree.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Let's go.
all right. Oops, I didn't mean to put that.
Well, hey, so
Oh, cool.
Kaiju Ninja,
Yes.
1990. He said if they slap in houses and cabins, which we know they do,
Yeah.
they might do the same with trees.
That's a good point. The other thing is when I did theater back in high school, we were taught to stage clap. Like stage combat and stuff. And you cup, instead of like clapping like this with your hands are flat, if you cup your hands like this, you make a lot bigger pop. And it echoes a lot more. So if you're clapping your hands like that, you're making a lot louder pop with them. So that's definitely an idea too. Interesting.
Well, that's interesting what TKB said. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Foots do it with their mouths. Don't have enough experience to say for sure. It is hard to find a baseball bat in the woods. We were out hiking, my team and my one friend Derek on the team clicked his tongue, and it was loud, and we got a response back off of that. And it was just as, I mean, I clicked my tongue and it is nowhere near what he did, but his like echoed through the woods with just his tongue click. And it got a reply back. So
wow.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go Bigfooting with y'all.
Yeah. I've heard mouth popping sounds before too. And also
how do they, is that this kind of pop? Is it this kind of pop? The cheek pop?
No.
Is it just the tongue pop?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
This makes for good TV.
Yes, it does. Yeah. And
I forgot my dentures.
And I've also heard whistling too.
That throat whistle.
It was like a throat whistle too. We actually got a recording of that, and it's weird. We played it for a choir professor from Anderson University, who's into vocals and choirs and stuff like that. And we played the whistle for him. He goes, "That's not from the lips. That's throat whistling." And he told me the difference. It was pretty interesting that they can whistle with their throats.
There are a few human tribes who can still do that, but they are, and I can't off the top of my head name which ones they are, but there, I don't know, 3 or 4 that are still living like they did, thousands of years ago. They can still they can still throat whistle. We can't, because the rest of humanity moved on and progressed to symbolic speech. And in so doing, and this is over thousands of years. But our vocal folds have shortened. We've lost one. We only have 2 versus 3, and they've gotten thicker. So
yeah, humans used to have 3 vocal flaps in their vocal cords, and now we only have 2. And if they still have 3, they can make a whole.
So
is that Tibetan throat singing?
Yeah, that's what
some of it,
kind of, sort of, yeah.
But there's actually throat whistling.
Yeah,
where you make a whistly sound. So I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how to do it.
Well, we can't do it.
Yeah. But I do know the Tibetan throat singing, that is something we can still do.
Yes.
Again, I can't do it, but I did take my choir kids to a workshop once, and they all learned how to Tibetan throat sing, and they were uncontrollable after that. It's like, would y'all just stop it? That was Bobby Kaplan from the Pentatonic who taught them that magic power. It's like, great.
That's awesome. Have you guys ever heard the sound of like a car door slamming out in the middle of the woods?
No, I have not. I haven't heard that.
We've heard a train.
I heard a train.
Where there was no train.
We actually got it on a recording. One of our recorders we had overnight, we heard this something walking in the woods. You could hear the the brush popping and the stick, they'd step on sticks. And we heard an owl hooting off in the distance. And then we heard the sound of a train, chugging along. And I'm like, we are literally 50 miles and 2 mountain ranges from the nearest railroad tracks. I'm like, I don't think we picked up the train that far.
Think about that though. Like if this is a Sasquatch vocal, think of the range that they would have to have where that specific individual would have had to have heard that to be able to mimic it.
Yes.
You're 50 miles from a train track. That means that this thing has traveled at least 50 miles in one direction to have learned that sound and picked up that vocal. I mean,
exactly.
That's really what it was.
That's well within what we think they wander. 200 miles is not out of the realm of possibility. Keeps them in good shape, keeps those butts nice and firm to make good detailed prints.
Yeah.
I've actually, I think it was it Ron Moorhead or something talks about hearing the car door slam up in the Sierra Nevadas and stuff, and I've actually heard it out in the woods too. It sounds like somebody just slams their car door shut, and there's nobody around. There's cars there, but everyone's accounted for. There's no cars being shut, and it's like that's that sound. But I don't know. And it's not a wood knock. It's not that metal sound that we were talking about earlier. It's the of a car. Interesting.
It'd be very interesting because someone asked what our thoughts were on imitation, and I have heard so many stories.
Yeah,
I've heard stories about people having their names called.
Yeah,
especially when they're in an area where they're habituating. It's like,
yeah. So if you're camping with somebody and you holler at them several times with their names, and then later on you hear off the woods somebody calling their names,
So, or their dogs. You hear your voice calling your own dog out of the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When are you guys going down to coming down south? Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida.
we're close.
We're close.
We're in
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're in Texas right now. No, but we got to go to Wisconsin after this. There's rules. So,
And then we're going to New England.
yeah, then we're going to Maine because we got a couple guys. We got somebody. We're going to go investigate a sighting in New York, and then another one in New Hampshire, and then we're going to go to Maine for a little bit, and then we're going to come back down to Texas. So we'll be going through Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, that whole area. In fact, I just had a guy message me from Florida 2 days ago about a sighting in the Ocala area in Florida. So
interesting. They jump so fast I can't click on them. We was camping in our van on Table Rock MTNC. It sounded like something was trying to open the door. I believe it was mimicking the sound. Interesting.
That's interesting.
Like the rattling of the door instead of like the slamming of it. That's interesting. Has Squatch America been to Washington State?
Are you from Washington State?
Is that guy from Washington State? Because Hannah's from Yakima.
I'm sorry.
So, and There was some other Bigfooters from Yakima. I think his name was Bob Gimlin and Roger Patterson. So,
Yep, sounds like he's from Washington. There you go.
Yeah.
No, we had some really
good experiences in Washington.
Actually, some of the
I just realized I was a guest speaker at the Medellin Falls
Falls
Festival in Washington. Yeah.
No, the portal into the Woo Factor opened for him in Washington
Yeah.
when we were camping up above
Leavenworth, Washington.
and that's where he saw the floating.
I saw an orb in the woods there. Yeah. For the first time, something I could not actually explain. Yeah, I was like, this has got me stumped.
It's totally different when you see it with your eyes as opposed to like on a security camera or through a camera or something.
Yeah.
You can't brush that off as dust or a lens flare or something when it's your eye looking at this light moving going, did you see that?
Yeah. And I know there's nothing but forest for like 10 miles that way, and there's not a road. There's not a road. There's not.
And where the light was, it was 20 feet down before anyone could actually put if someone had been standing there, they would have been 20 feet below that light. Okay, well, Flat Rock, you're going to have to come to our 200th anniversary show. It's going to be awesome, and there may be giveaways.
Flat Rock says, I would love to get a signed Patty footprint from the Sasquatch and Cowboy.
Yeah.
So Russell Accord actually sells Bob Gimlin autographed casts and pictures and stuff.
No, so what I did is my friend Squatch and Cowboy from Texas here, we were guest speakers at a festival in Yakima, actually.
Yes.
And it was on the reservation there with the Yakima Tribe Reservations Bigfoot Festival. And you're probably familiar with Mel Skahan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was his festival, and he invited us to come down and speak there. And Bob Gimlin was there, and my friend from Texas here was like whining at me online, DMing me, going, "I wish I was there. I'm so jealous you get to hang out with Bob Gimlin all weekend." And so I had a copy of the cast, so I had Bob actually sign it, and I sent it to him just for not being able to come. So that's where Flat Rock got that. So next time I see Bob, hopefully he's still around. He's getting up there. But I think we were there for his 90th birthday party. We were at his birthday party. So cool.
We will reach out to you. We'll be posting something on the Wisconsin Fallen Outdoors page or we'll be reaching out with what you need, but pretty much you need hiking stuff and camping stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For the CapCon hike, you'll get an email for anybody that's coming to that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Oh, see, I thought she was talking about our veterans hike too.
I don't know which one. So
yeah,
she'll be at both. She's got a ticket for the VIP night as well. So
yeah,
just sold out.
And I think 2 weeks after CapCon, we're taking a group, I think 13 veterans up for their own Bigfoot expedition.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome. Very cool. All right, we are at our hour mark here, guys. This one really fast. So we're gonna if you guys have any more questions, throw them in the comments. We'll get to them before we wrap things up here. We got one more here right away. Jeez,
you missed it.
Up to Wisconsin with Stacy Brown Jr. Yep, Stacy Brown is going to be at our convention as well.
Mm-hmm.
Has Squatch America heard the samurai chatter? We're on a lot of talking of audio today.
Yeah, we have. We have not. Yeah, we've heard a lot of talking to audio, but we have not heard the samurai chatter ourselves. We've got whistles, howls, whoops, huffs, but I haven't got the chatter yet. So
that tells me that we have not encountered males and females together.
Because usually that's an argument between the two of them.
what is your opinion on? I've heard from the Yowie researchers over in Australia that they don't do the what we would consider like the Ohio howl because they think that that is a male. They tend to do like a siren, like an air raid siren. Ooh,
Okay.
call because they believe that's a female. Have you had any thoughts on that as far as male versus female vocals?
No, we haven't. I haven't heard any of the you know. That's a good call.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I know we don't do howls at night, for ourselves, because I know they know it's us, and they don't, because we don't have the volume or the octaves that they have. Go back to when we were talking about the three folds. Bigfoot calls are done in 5 octaves, and humans can only do 3. So, but that's interesting. But I do know something that we have got solicited some whoops and stuff by playing humans baby crying in the woods. It triggers that, paternal thing, and they have to come check it out.
One of the other groups here in Wisconsin that does research started using whale sounds.
Huh.
And they got some, I don't know if they got responses, but they had activity based on that. And it's really creepy. I was out on a hike with them and they started playing it. And if I didn't know what it was, like I knew they play whale songs, if I heard it and I'm like, what the heck that must be a whale. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, all right. But yeah, it was really creepy to hear that sound coming out of the woods. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just interesting, draws their attention. But awesome. All right. Any last minute questions? Otherwise, we are gonna head to the final countdown here. So you guys are gonna be up here in Appleton, Wisconsin, May 9th, 10th, and 11th. The convention is on the 10th for anybody. There are still tickets available for that. The hike is now sold out. So unfortunately, you guys can't come out in Bigfoot with us that day. But you can still come to the convention. And if you can't make it out to the convention, you can get virtual tickets to hear all of our great speakers, including Scot and Hannah that day, or at your convenience whenever you're available to watch the live stream. Will be available after the fact as well for anybody that picks up a ticket. Where else are you guys going to be? You coming anywhere else on the way up or heading on the way out? Well, you said Maine, but anywhere else?
No. Well, on the way up, we're stopping for a couple weeks in Arkansas to hang out with Todd Neese for a while. We're going to do some stuff with him. But other than that, we're going straight up to you guys.
Yeah.
Is the next thing.
And Kaiju Ninja is asking, do you think it's better to try to bring them in as opposed to going after them? Absolutely.
Yep. If you put on your camo and try to hunt them down, you are never going to get, that's not going to happen.
Just light your campfire, roast your weenies, and be human.
Yeah. And they'll come check you out. Yep.
Perfect. All right. And of course, we have your wonderful Squatch Off repellent work with that as well. We have the Squatch America link in the show notes for your website as well as your YouTube. Can people get that? You said you had the Indiegogo as well. Is that on the site?
Yeah, just go to squatchamerica.com.
It's the first thing you can click on.
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Very cool, guys. Well, I want to thank you again. I'm super excited to have you guys up here. I think it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great event. Looking forward to going out and actually doing some squatching with you guys. And I want to thank you. I know you guys understand, but I really appreciate you rescheduling and coming on later today because I had to go out and chase down a potential lead. So
yeah, no, when you messaged me this morning, you know what I messaged back? The first thing, make sure you take hairspray with you to cast and snow with.
Absolutely. Yep. And that reminded me, oh crap, I need to grab all my casting stuff. So I appreciate that very much. Because I was grabbing everything and throwing it in the car because I didn't know where this was going to go. So awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Looking forward to having you up here, guys. Until then,
very excited.
Until then, guys, you drive safe. Be careful because, you're scheduled to be here, so don't get hurt on the way.
Okay.
It's too late to book new talent. We got to have you.
Okay,
So,
got it.
there you go. All right. You guys take care. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that is our show for this week. Thank you all for tuning in late if you are watching live. Otherwise, if you're watching after the fact or listening after the fact, it's probably just your normal time to watch our show. But if you're watching live, thank you all for coming to the prime time episode here at 5 o'clock on Monday evening. It's a little late, and I'm going to bed. So until next week, guys. Oh, next week is the 100th episode of Monsters on the Edge here on the Untold Radio Network. And unfortunately for you guys, it's a pre-recorded episode, as well as its companion episode. The 101st episode is also pre-recorded because I had the amazing opportunity to interview a Indian cryptozoologist researcher about the Indian chupacabra. So it is a really cool episode. 2 parts. It was recorded over several days because of didn't want to do it live because of the lack of good signal quality. We had to film it over a couple days, and but it is all edited together and stuff. And it is part 1 and part 2 is the 100th episode and 101st episode. But that's just 2 hours of this conversation. There's a full 3-hour episode that you guys can get if you become a member of the Untold Radio Network. That's right. If you become a Super Chats member, you get the full 3-hour episode. It is amazing, and it's coming at you, coming up here starting next week and then the week after. So until then, guys, thank you all for 99 episodes. I will see you back here live in a couple weeks. Until then, I'll see you on the edge.